We're going to begin on our backs then. So we can re-wake up this morning. So come all the way down onto your back. And let's start with knees bent. So have your knees bent, feet about as wide as your mat. And the distance is going to be more clear to you because you want your knees to be able to knock in toward each other and to be supported. So that might mean your legs are further out or a little bit closer together. For me, it's a little bit more comfortable if my legs, if my feet aren't fully at the edges of my mat, but just kind of moving in that direction. And you might find that it's more comfortable for your low back, and just explore this. It just depends on like the dimensions of your body. But if you press through your feet, shrug your shoulders underneath you, lift up your hips, slide your tailbone underneath you, and then reset down. That might create some more space. Again, if that doesn't quite work out, then reverse your path just a little bit. We're not trying to fully remove the arc in our low back. We're just trying to create a little bit more spaciousness. And then you can take your arms in any position. However, I recommend placing one hand on heart, one hand on belly for right now. And feel free to let your eyelids close. And so we're not going back to sleep, but we're coming back to a place of quiet. The place right before you fully woke up, when your thoughts were still a little cloudy, not really attaching to anything, simply bringing in awareness. So maybe noticing things like the temperature of the air moving in and out of your nostrils, or your belly rising and falling, or that you've been able to release tension in places where you might normally hold it, like your shoulders, your face, your elbows. And then stay in this kind of aware space without having a whole lot of attachment to what's going on. Just allowing your awareness to drift over your body, maybe even kind of flowing from your toes all the way to the top of your body, top of your head that is, and then all the way back down. And in this space in between, this nebulous area, I invite you to set a dedication or intention for your practice. If this is something that you've already got in mind, then please allow those thoughts to become more formed and more distinct. And if you've not thought of something, then allow your thoughts to drift. What are you magnetized to this morning? And then we're going to take a few breaths together as we make these thoughts more distinct, these dedications. Take a deep breath in, all the way to the top. Again, if your hands are on your body, you might start to feel that movement. And then exhale all the way down. Again, a deep breath in, fill all the way up. Exhale, let go. And then once more for yourself, on your own. If you've allowed your eyes to close, start to blink them open, start to take in some of the visual stimuli surrounding you. Maybe even using your eyes to start with movement. So sitting your eyeballs way up, like you could look up to your forehead and then rounding all the way to the right side. So your eyeballs are pointing to the right side of your eye sockets, and then all the way down towards your nose, around to the left, and then back up towards your forehead, and then the other direction, winding all the way around. Eyes toward the left sides of your eyes, all the way down to the left cheek, to the nose, to the right cheek, all the way around. Come right back up to the top. Bring your arms up overhead. Extend your legs out in front of you in a good morning stretch. Maybe gesticulate just a little bit, coming from side to side. Pandiculation, moving through your wrists and your ankles, fingertips, toes, just kind of exploring. And then if you're rocking from side to side, noticing the pressure on your body, just as you're shifting. And then we're going to bring your arms alongside your body once again, palms down. Flex your right foot, point your left toe, reach your left arm up above your head. So flex your toes towards the right foot towards your right knee, left fingertips reaching back, 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 back. And then release both feet, bring your arm alongside your body, reach your right arm up above your head, flex your left toes, point through your right toes. And even here, feel your low rib tips, your hip tips pull up toward your ribs. So your core starts to get a little bit engaged as you reach your fingertips away, pull your left toes up. And then release, take your right arm back down. Let's do that once more on either side. Right toes flex, left toes point, left arm reaches up. One more inhale. Exhale, left arm comes back. Release your feet, left toes flex, right toes point, right arm comes up and back. Deep breath. And then exhale, take it right back in. Pull both knees in towards your chest, hands to your shins or your thighs. Rock a little from side to side. If you can enjoy that massage on your low back. If that kind of pressure is a bit too much, then I invite you to make a smaller movement. And keep your right knee in towards you and take a supine twist. Left leg extends out. Draw your right knee across your body. Adjust your shoulders. Maybe you can get your right shoulder blade more onto the mat. Send your gaze over to the right. So when we're doing this pose, consider if it's possible, you want either your shoulder to be down if your knee is up, or your knee to be down if your shoulder is up. I find that I feel more stable if my shoulders are down, even if that means that my right knee, that twisted knee, doesn't come as far to the mat. I'm going to get more out of this pose by not going as far. So maybe that's you as well. And if it's not, then do the thing that makes the most sense. Just thought I'd share that experience. All right, on the exhale, head and knee back to center, right leg extends out, left knee draws in, pull across your body. And again, if your body is like mine, you have a similar experience, focus more on bringing your left shoulder blade down toward the mat rather than bringing your left knee all the way across, because sometimes that can place a little bit too much tweaking in the mid back. And so this might be a little bit more stable if the shoulder is down, even if the twist is not as deep appearing. Things that we see on the outside are not the things that we experience on the inside. All right, next I'll take your head and knee back to center. Realign your hips if you need. We're going to come to a seated position, so you can roll to one side or rock it up and down the length of your spine if that feels like a nice massage to you. And then come to a Sukasana pose when you're ready, with one ankle in front of the other, or have your ankles crisscrossed if that is more comfortable. I'm taking my non-dominant foot out in front first. So up to you if that's what you want to do. Hands to your knees, shrug your shoulders on your back, draw your low ribs in. You might notice that your hip flexors tense up a little bit. And we're going to take a little bit of hip mobility. So I'm going to start moving to my right. On an inhale, I'm going to shrug my heart towards my right knee. Take it forward, shoulder blades on my back, and lean all the way to left. Your bum might start to come up your hips. Round your back. On an exhale, lean back, look down towards your belly even. Bring your chin to your chest. Another revolution like that. Inhale, take it forward, shoulder blades on your back. Come all the way around. Exhale, like a cat shape, and then we're going to swoop it around the other direction. So on your inhale, bring your heart towards your left knee. Shoulder blades on your back as you come forward. Gaze is slightly up. Rock around to the left side. Exhale, drop back. One more time like that. Nice. And then come up all the way to seated. Keep your legs as they are if you'd like, or switch them out. So you have the other leg in front. If you know that you tend to keep one leg in front all the time, you might want to keep the other one because you're seeking balance over time, not just in this class. We're going to do a little bit of seated cat-cow now, so moving more in the sagittal plane, going front and back. So hands to your knees again. Send your heart forward. Inhale, shoulder blades on your back. It's okay if your bum lifts up. Look up slightly. Exhale, draw it all the way back. Lean forward. Your knees might rise up a bit. Inhale, sweep your heart forward again. Exhale, rock it back. Inhale, take it forward. And then exhale one more time. That seated cat pose. And then come right back up. I'm going to switch out my legs once more, taking myself back to that first more awkward side. Up to you if you'd like to do that as well. We're going to start to move a little bit from side to side now. So take your right arm out to the side as a support and reach your left arm up and over. See if you can point your left elbow upward toward the ceiling. So even here, we're going to start to work in that, that torso rotation. So even if you'd want to, you could take your left hand to your right rib cage, coax it upward, and then extend your arm up again. So you don't have to like really, I don't know, like cement your left hip down toward the mat, but definitely take an intention of pressing your hip toward the mat. So you don't have to, again, be so stern and stiff with it, but see how that feels maybe differently. All right, on an exhale, you're gonna come slightly up, bring your left elbow towards your left side of your waist. Inhale, lean back over to the right, extend your fingertips. Exhale, take your elbow towards your waist. Starting to move into some of these shapes, these extensions. Again, elbow is generally pointing up toward the ceiling. See if you can avoid bringing it all the way forward. It happens a little bit naturally, but we're gonna try to find a little bit of resistance. All right, one more time. And then after you take your left elbow towards your left side of your waist, lift all the way up. Inhale, reach your arms out and up, send your chin upward. Exhale, hands to your heart center. And let's take it to the other side. Left hand out to the side, give yourself some balance. Sweep your right arm up and around. And also notice if your right shoulder is like starting to really creep up and shorten your neck, draw it back away from you. Send your gaze up just at least for a moment towards your right elbow. Scooch it up toward the ceiling. It's probably trying to come down. And again, if you ever want to take that, that encouragement, right hand to the side of your rib cage, wrap it up. Looky there. There's always a little bit more space. All right, let's start to move into, find some dynamic movement, a little bit of functional flow. On an exhale, right elbow towards your right side of your waist. And then reach all the way over again, maybe rebending to left elbow. Inhale, take it up. Exhale, left side of your rib cage still pointing upward. And then moving with your breath, gravitating your right hip towards the mat again, not really concrete down, but just encouraging your hip down in that direction. All right, after that next time, bring your elbow back towards your waist, exhale, and come up to seated. We're gonna take some more of that, a little bit of a seated cow-cat, and we're gonna move that into some core movement. So now that we're starting to get our bodies side to side warmed up, we're gonna start to warm up our core. So inhale, bring your heart forward, come up, exhale, lean back, hands to knees. This time we're going to make it more dynamic. Inhale, reach your arms out and up. Exhale, fists by your hips, lean back, knees up. Maybe cross at your ankles, modified boat pose, bring it back. Inhale, take it out and up. Exhale, broad to the shoulder, to the collarbones, modified boat. 2 more times like this. And then you're gonna land in your modified boat pose, bring your toes together and your knees wide. And if you're looking for more zhuzh, you're lifting up your inner ankles, your inner heels toward the ceiling. That tiny bit of a twist is like, and release your fingers, release your index on the inhale. Place your feet down, knees wide, come all the way forward, get soft, your back can round. Exhale, lift up and back, shoulders on your back, lean back, maybe even lift up your feet, lift up through your inner heels. Inhale, take it forward, get soft, get low, drop your head. Exhale, lift up and back, shrug your shoulders back, lean back, lift up your toes. 2 more times like this. All right, take your hands to the backs of your knees, draw your knees together, and roll over onto your hands and knees, tabletop position. Again, a little bit of pandiculation, moving through your fingers and your toes, your wrists and your ankles. Finding a little bit of shape. And then we're gonna come into tabletop. We're gonna move through a few cow and cat. Inhale, release your belly down toward the mat, reach your heart forward. Tailbone turns up, send your chin up. Exhale, like that there was a string between your hips and your ribs and your chin towards your chest, arch up your back. Inhale, swim your heart forward once again, coming into your cow pose, elbows pointing generally back. Exhale, press into your cat. And then come back down to neutral. We're going to do a cat-cow flow. Send your hips back to your heels in this modified child's pose. Inhale, rise to your knees, palms lift up. Press down through the tops of your feet or your toes, depending if they're tucked or not. Exhale, take it all the way back down, modified child's. Inhale, keep your heart low, coming forward into a cow pose. Exhale, press up into cat, using that shape as you send your hips back to your heels, modified child's. Again, inhale, rise to your knees, maybe even palms touch as you slight back bend. Exhale, all the way down. Inhale, slither forward for cow. Exhale to cat. And then come back down to a neutral tabletop. Take your knees a little bit wider. Again, depending on your anatomy, this might be knees all the way wide as your mat or even more. Toes to touch or in the same direction. We're going to move to a child's pose here. So a wide-legged child's pose. I believe this is Prasarita Balasana. Reach your arms out long. Let's go soft for a moment. So, this wide-legged pose, maybe give yourself a little shifty, feeling what's going on in your hip flexors. A lot going on here with your pelvis, so be gentle with yourself. And if you move in a direction that feels like, let's change that, something that's more sustainable, then please do so. 2 more breaths here in your child's pose. And then after your next exhale, lift up about halfway. You're going to move your torso and your arms all the way over to the right. So you might have your belly on top of your right thigh. Left arm reaches out long. And then even here, your left rib cage is going to drop down. So you're getting a little bit of a twist here. And then come up halfway, swing it all the way over to the other side. So even though you're reaching out with your right fingertips, you're pulling your left rib cage down, right side up. I'm sorry, right down, left. And then come back to center again. Press up to hands and knees, realign your knees and heels with your hips, tuck your toes, send your hips way, way, way back. Feel that stretch to the undersides of your feet and the tops of your feet. And then start to lift your hips up to your downward facing dog. Find a little bit of movement here. Always interesting to explore that first downward facing dog. Like, what's happening today? How does my body interact right now with the rest of the world and gravity? All right, bend your knees pretty deeply if they're not already, and then walk your hands about one hand print closer to you so you've got a shorter distance. Right hand to cross your body. It'll reach your thigh, your calf, or your ankle. I'm going to take a little bit of a twist here. So make sure with your left arm that your inner elbow is pointing up, fingertips spread wide, give yourself a really firm base. And you can start to bring the right side of your rib cage toward your left thigh. I know. Keep your left hip drawing back. All right, replace your right hand down in the same plane as the left. Switch it up. Left hand across your body to thigh, calf, or ankle. Right hip gently draws back. You might feel this a bit in your IT band, outer hip, number of places. And then if you're looking to take this even further, drawing the left side of your rib cage toward your right thigh. All right, release the leg. Place your left hand back where it was. Walk your hand back out, that one hand print. On an inhale, rise to your toes, come to the top of a plank pose. Check out your work. Do you have your wrists about below your shoulders? If you don't, then just start to shift a little bit, either toes back or hands forward, giving yourself this space. We're going to be here for just a few breaths. Always an option to send your knees down to the mat, even if you're like, whoop, tap just for a breath when you get back up. Long on your exhales, press the mat away from you and soften through your jaw. And then when you're ready on an exhale, take your chin to your chest, puff up your back, take it up and back to downward facing dog. Bend your knees deeply, look towards the top of your mat, and then travel to the top one step or several, or maybe you want to hop, maybe you've got all kinds of energy this morning. Ragdoll pose, bend through your knees, take your elbows in your hands, or hook your fingertips at your low back, or any other kind of variation you got. Bob your head, yes and no. And then release your fingertips if you took any kind of a bind. We're going to take 3 halfway lifts. Breath in, fingertips to your shins or the mat. Look forward, shoulder blades on your back. Engage your belly here. Keep that engagement. Exhale, hinge forward, bringing your chest towards your thighs. Bent knees are fine. Inhale, lift out and up. Press your feet down and away from each other. Keep that as you exhale all the way down, even more active each time. Final time like this. Inhale, look out. Deep exhale, forward fold. Reach to rise, press through your feet, bring your arms up toward the ceiling, send your chin up. And then on an exhale, take your hands to your heart center, and then arms alongside your body, Tadasana. Shift your weight a little bit towards the front of your feet and the back of your feet. Maybe even lift up your toes and see how that keeps your inner arches lifted. And then maybe place them back down. Inhale, reach your arms up toward the ceiling. Take your right fingertips to your left wrist, and you're gonna arc your torso over to the right, hips over to the left. Notice if your left elbow starts to come in front of you, coax it back, and then bring your hips in towards your ribs, the tiniest bit, just so that you're taking out the arc in your back. Press down through your left foot as much as your right. Come back up to center, and then release the grip. Left fingertips to your right wrist. Arc your torso over to the left, and then hips over to the right. Again, noticing if you're taking an arc through your back, start to remove that slightly. Make this more of a side bend, pressing down through both feet. Right elbow points up. And then back up to center. Exhale, hands to your heart center. Once more, deep breath in. Full exhale. Inhale, palms lift up, chin tilts up. Exhale, forward fold. Take it all the way down to the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, look up. And then exhale, fold. Step back to the top of a plank pose. On an exhale, lower all the way down to your mat, either knees up or knees down, elbows grazing the sides of your rib cage. Untuck your toes, reach your arms behind you. Inhale, locust pose. Point out your toes so much that your thighs lift up through your inner thighs. Reach your hands back. Tilt your head down just the tiniest bit so you're not craning up. And then exhale, release everything down to the mat. Take your hands alongside your body. Tuck your toes, and then either pressing up through hands and knees or through chaturanga, make your way up and back to downward facing dog. Deep inhale. Full exhale. On a breath in, lift your right leg up toward the ceiling, long, straight, strong. On an exhale, place your foot between your hands toward the right thumb. Drop your left knee down. And then we come to Anjaneyasana. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, sit lower. Start to squeeze your right heel towards your left knee. And then take your right thumb to your right hip crease. Arc over to the right. Notice if the left elbow's coming forward, you know what to do. Gently draw it back. And then we're going to take some of that, that extension that we did earlier. So bring your left elbow towards your left waist, lift up, and then arc back over to the side. Inhale. Exhale, come right back up, elbow towards left waist. Inhale, arc over to the side. Right side of your rib cage starts to point up. One more time like this. Arc over to the right. And then place both hands down toward the mat, framing your front foot. Take your left hand out just a little bit wider. We're going to take a low lunge twist. Lift your right fingertips up toward the ceiling. Really press away through your left hand. Lengthen through the crown of your head. So we're not just like leaning back. We're really taking this twist seriously. No fun. All right, exhale, take your hand right back down to the mat. So you're back to your low lunge. Tuck your back toes, lift up your back knee. We're going to stay out here for just a couple breaths in this low lunge. Maybe wiggle the back foot back, find a little bit of movement. Again, exploring what's going on in the hips and in the knee. And then step your right foot back to a downward facing dog. If you'd like to take a vinyasa, please do that. We'll meet in downward facing dog. From down dog, breath in, left leg extends up and back for a tripod dog, and exhale, place your foot between your hands toward the left thumb, release your right knee down, find your stability, and when you're ready, inhale, arms come up for Anjaneyasana once again. So this is your thighs toward each other, shoulders drop away from your ears, left thumb to left hip crease, arc over to the left, maybe take a peek to the right elbow, match it on back. All right, on an exhale, bring your right elbow towards your right side of your waist. Your shoulders come up. And then inhale, lean over to the left again. Reach your fingertips, maybe beyond your head. Come back up. Right elbow to right side of waist. Take it over to the other side. 2 more times like this. All right, and then take both hands down to frame the front foot. Take your right hand out a little bit further to the side. Low lunge twist. Left fingertips unfurl toward the ceiling. On your right arm, your inner elbow is pointing towards the top of your mat. Allowing yourself to press away from the mat even more. Lengthen to the crown of your head. And exhale, release your hand down toward the mat. Bring your right hand in a little bit closer. Tuck the back knee to lift up the back toes, rather, lift up the back knee. And then again, find a little bit of movement here, pulling your hip back, right hip forward, maybe scooching the right foot back even more, finding a longer stance so that your left thigh might come closer to parallel to the mat. And then when you're ready, step your left foot back to meet your right, high plank. Press up and back to downward facing dog or take a vinyasa. All right, bend your knees, look towards the top of your mat, and simply hop to a seat in the center of your mat, or any way you want to get there. I'm going to take a Batakanasana pose, a bound angle. Bring the soles of your feet together, knees wide. And then if you're at a good distance here, awesome, stay where you are. If you need a little bit more intensity, fingertips behind you, lift up your hips, scooch them forward. Take your hands to your feet. Shrug your shoulders on your back, inhale. And then on an exhale, hinge forward. So see if you can keep your shoulder blades slightly on your back rather than rolling forward, finding length through the sides of your body. And then you might even be in a position where you want to place your elbows to your calves. And then even if your elbows aren't touching your legs, actively press your knees down and back, and you might find that you propel yourself forward just a little bit more. Be mindful of your low back. Long in the exhales. All right, lift your way back up. If you took that scooch forward, hands behind you, lift up your hips, rock them back a bit, cross your ankles, roll over onto your hands and knees, and make your way back to downward facing dog. Maybe you'd like to take a vinyasa or shoot back to chaturanga. See what you need. Deep breath in, deep breath out. On your next inhale, right leg comes up and back. Exhale, place your foot between your hands toward the right thumb. Angle your left foot down. We're moving in towards we're going to move into warrior two, but take a look at your left foot. Check out your heels. And then when you're ready, unravel. You want your left toes to be pointed in ever so slightly, reaching out to the inside of your right thigh so that your right knee is generally pointing in the same direction as your second toe. Take a look at your left leg. We also want second toe to generally be in the same direction as the knee. So if your toes are pointing out, too much tension is occurring here. Shrug your shoulders down, reach your fingertips away from your body, and maybe sit a little bit lower. Straighten the front leg, rebend into the front knee. Re-straighten the front leg, bend in toward the knee, maybe even a little bit more deeply. One more time like this, extend, and then bend down. Okay, extend the knee once again. We're going to move into triangle pose. Reach your hips back, scoot your right thigh underneath you, reach your torso forward. Again, maybe left hand to right side of your ribcage, point it up, and then allow your right hand to drop down. It might be on your thigh, your calf, all the way down to a block or the mat. Left fingertips are straight up. Keep pressing to the outer edge of your left foot. So you're lifting up on the arches of both of your feet. Lengthen out on your crown of your head. Exhale to twist. Everything that's touching the mat is helping you lift up. So press down to lift away. You can send your gaze up towards your left thumb. Long inhale, long exhale. And right here, staying in this triangle pose, left arm is going to reach up and over your head, fairly intense. So maybe take a little bit of a flow, taking your left fingertips up toward the ceiling, then bringing back so that your bicep is more over your ear. Where are you feeling this? Likely it's not just in your arm. You might feel it in your shoulders, your neck, your hip. All right, and then come back to your warrior two pose. Rise up, rebend into the front knee. Maybe you can drop the thigh even slightly further. And then you're ready. On an exhale, cartwheel all the way down to a low lunge. Fit onto the ball of your back foot. Step your right foot back to meet your left. Vinyasa, if you would like to take it. We will meet in downward facing dog. Deep breath in. Full exhale. Left leg lifts up and back, create space, and on an exhale, you're going to use it. Place your foot between your hands toward the left thumb. Use your left hand to guide it up if you'd like. We generally want knee over ankle. Look back towards the back foot, angle it down. So not quite parallel with the back of the mat. You want to be able to press down to the outer edge of your foot. Get a little bit more purchase on the mat. When you're ready, on an exhale, spiral up, warrior two. So again, focus on everything that's touching the mat first. Pressing down on your feet. So big toe mound, little toe mound, center of your heel. You'll notice that this will help your arches lift up. You're starting to bring the left side of your inner thigh upward so that your left knee is generally over the second toe. Again, check your right toes as well. And then as far as your chest, you've got your shoulders squared-ish towards the long side of your mat, even though your hips will not be. Sit a little bit lower, perhaps. All right, start to extend the left knee and then rebend into it. Extend the left knee, keep pressing to the outer edge of your right foot. Don't forget about everything from the back. Rebend down. 2 more times like this. See if you can still keep your shoulders generally pointed toward the long side of your mat. All right, and then one more time, extend the front knee. We're gonna move to Trigonosuppose pose. Send your hips back towards the back side of your mat. Inner left thigh rotates up, reach left with your fingertips, and then tick-tock, left fingertips come down, thigh, calf, ankle, floor, block, right fingertips up. Inner left elbow, you're turning it inside out, so the inner part is pointing toward the front of your mat. Give yourself lots of stability and strength here. Left rib cage pointing up. Don't forget to lift up on the arches of your feet. You can achieve this by pressing down, big toe mound, little toe mound, and heel. All right, and then here, swing your right arm up and over your head, and then bring it all the way back up. Again, even though we're simply moving our arm, where else do you experience this? Notice if your right side of your rib cage is starting to turn down, coax it back up. All right, and then the next time that your right fingertips are pointing back up to the ceiling, we're gonna move back to the warrior two. Exhale, lift up, sit low, maybe even lower than before. And then on an exhale, cartwheel towards the top of your mat, pivot onto the ball of your back foot. Here in a low lunge. Step your left foot back to meet your right, high plank pose. Vinyasa, if you'd like to take it, we're gonna meet in downward facing dog. All right, and then release your knees to the mat, come up to sit. Cool. So we're gonna move into some extended side angle variations here. How's everybody doing? Doing okay? Awesome. Okay, so how to explain? Okay, perfect. So you're gonna come to your knees. If you know that knees, placing this kind of weight on your knees is a bit much, then definitely take a blanket, roll it out, give yourself some extra padding. You're gonna set yourself up almost like you were gonna be doing a hero pose, which is where your heels on the outsides of your hips. Normally, it's like put things in alignment, not here. If you're looking at your computer screen, you can see that I've got my thighs here and then my heels are visible rather than being hidden by my knees. Okay, so let's start with hands on hips. This is usually the most stable way to do this. We're gonna begin to pivot. So I'm gonna shift the weight over to my left leg and I'm gonna pivot my right knee up. Yes. Then I come all the way back down, shift my weight to my right, left knee comes up. Again, just start to move from side to side. You might need to find you need to make some adjustments, like pointing your heel out further, bring it more close in. For me, it's a little bit more comfortable for my knees to be further out, very eternally rotated. So that works well for me. Okay, things are gonna get fun. So if you wanna stay here with your hands on your hips, please do so. Otherwise, let's start to incorporate some hand motions. So I'm going to take my right hand to my right knee as I move out, drop it back, left side out, and back. Inner elbow up. Does this feel familiar? Starting to unpack and rebuild. Okay, so next up, you're going to start to take your right elbow down to right knee as you float from side to side. This might mean you move a little bit slower. So take your forearm down to thigh, Whatever side of your rib cage is down, you're still rotating enough. Okay, let's slow it down a little bit more. I'm gonna go over to my right side. I've got my forearm on my right thigh, and I'm gonna rotate my right side of my rib cage up. Left hand comes up and over. Exhale, elbow towards the right, left side of my rib cage or to my waist. Lean up and over. Take it all the way down. Up and over. With your right hand, make sure that your fingertips are very active and you're pressing down through the right thigh. Once more like this. All right, hands back to your hips. Rock the right knee down. We're going to shift to the other side. Left thigh comes up. Left forearm to left thigh. Left side of rib cage lifts up. I'm going to reach my right arm up, bend over. And then I'm going to take my elbow towards the right side of my wrist. I might come up, lean back down, active through the left fingertips. Continue making these movements. Can you still keep the left side of your rib cage pointed upward? Finding that twist through your torso. All right, come right back up, drop your knee down. Come over to the right, swing your left arm all the way around. Come back to center, come over to left forearm to thigh, swing your right arm all the way around. So we're basically going into a variation of extended side angle from side to side. Move with your breath. Feel free to take several breaths in each side. All right, take one more on either side. And then we're going to explore putting this all together at once. Okay. Drop both knees down to the mat. Realign your heels. Let's take one child's cat-cow flow rather. So move to a modified child's pose with your shins about parallel like train tracks. Inhale, rise to your knees, palms lift up, maybe slight back bend. Exhale, drop it all the way down. Keep your heart low, slither forward to a cow pose, belly is down. Exhale, press up into cat. One more like this, send your hips back to your heels. Inhale, rise to your knees. Exhale, bow again. Get soft, release, let go. Slither forward to cow. Back to cat, tuck your toes and your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Anywhere you need to get there, if you need a little bit more time, a couple other poses on the way, do what you gotta do. Deep breath in, full breath out. All right, as you're ready, your inhale, right leg up, expand, exhale, place your foot between your hands. All right, we're gonna move into that warrior two pose, angle the left foot down, unravel as you need, sit low. All right, so all this, inner thigh, reaching forward, then straighten the front knee, exhale, release into the warrior two again. Inhale, straighten, slowly, begrudgingly, come all the way back down to warrior two. All right, this time, straighten the front leg, keep it straighter, extended knee, and we move to Trigonosuppose pose. Right inner thigh points up, reach forward with your fingertips, surf forward, right side rib cage up, right hand drops down where it does, left arm up toward the ceiling. Swing your left arm up over your head. Exhale, take it up to center, maybe even taking the elbow down towards your waist. One more time like that. Extension with the arm. All right, and then come back to the warrior two. We're gonna move into our extended side angle. So before we had this with our knee down, if you ever wanna come down, drop your knee and take this pose again. This is an option. We're also gonna explore it with the back knee up. So your legs are essentially like warrior two. You're gonna surf forward as though you're moving into a Trigonosuppose. Forearm to the right thigh, or you could always take your hand down to the block or all the way down to the mat. This can sometimes be a little bit much. And then our thigh lifts up, you crunch in. Do not sacrifice the pose just to get your hand to the mat. I'm gonna take the pose with my forearm onto my thigh. Inner thigh is rocking up. I'm still pressing through the outer edge of my left foot. First, start with left fingertips up toward the ceiling. What's happening with your rib cage? What's happening with your torso? If you're starting to point down, a little bit of coaxing. Left hand to the right side of your torso. Draw it up. If this means you come out of the bend of the front knee, that's okay. And then left fingertips up toward the ceiling again. Keep pressing through the outer edge of your left foot. I know this is so intense. Just breathe. All right, let's do the full extended version of the side angle pose. Bring your left arm out in front of you, palm down. Point your pinky down, and then sweep it towards the front of your yoga mat. So pinky is down, right rib cage is turning up, deepen into the right thigh. Soften, back of your neck is relaxed. All right, on an exhale, come back to warrior two, straighten the front leg. We're gonna go at it again. Exhale, bend into the right knee, surf forward. Forearm to thigh, your hand to blocker, then that left fingertips up, or sweep your arm around the front. This helps avoid a little bit of crunching in your upper shoulder, usually helpful for a lot of people. And then if you'd like, you look up toward the ceiling, beyond your left arm, or even towards your left fingertips. All right, come back to warrior two, straighten the front leg, turn your right toes in, take your hands to your hips. Inhale, lift up, send your chin up. Exhale, hinge at your hips. Release your hands down to the mat whenever you would like. Breath in, lift up about halfway, send the weight more into the balls of your feet. Exhale, deepen your forward fold. A little bit of an inversion here. So you can make this very active, or if you'd like to use this opportunity to make this a little bit more restful, that is your choice. All right, inhale, lift up halfway again. Keeping it low, you're gonna pivot back to the front of the mat so you're in a low lunge. Step your left foot forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, look out. Exhale, fold. Press through your feet, lift your arms up toward the ceiling. And then on an exhale, hands to your heart center. You can leave them here or alongside your body for Tadasana or Samasthiti. You'll be here for 3 breaths. When you're ready with your eyes open or closed, inhale, palms lift up, chin turns up. Exhale, hinge at your waist all the way down. All right, your hips rather. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, step back to the top of Batakanasana plank pose. And then if you'd like, you can go back to downward facing dog or exhale through Chaturanga Dandasana to or towards your mat. Untuck your toes, upward dog, cobra, or locust. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. When you're ready, inhale, left leg up and back. Exhale, place your foot between your hands. Angle your right foot down like warrior two. Get your lower body nice and strong. Get a firm foundation. And then on an exhale, assisting you on your way up, unravel to your warrior two pose. Palms point down, inner elbows point up. Shoulders are generally in the same line as the long side of your yoga mat. Inner left thigh rocks up. So this might even feel like your left hip is kind of like tucking underneath you. And your right thigh is kind of tucking up. All right, straighten that left leg. Rebend into left knee, maybe even a little bit lower. You might need to expand the distance between your feet. Again, lift up. And then deepen. And then extend that knee. And we're going to take Trigonosuppose pose. So left side of your rib cage comes forward. Serve towards the front of your yoga mat. When you're ready, tick-tock down. Left hand comes down. Inner left elbow, point towards the front of the room. Continue to scoot your left hip underneath you. Press down through your feet, right fingertips up. And then as we did before, right hand comes up and over. And then lift your fingertips back up or bring your elbow even down to your wrist for more accentuation. Move your arm, finding this long arc, long range of motion. And then when you're ready, we're going to make our way back to that warrior two pose. Okay, we're going to move to extended side angle. Sort of forward as though you're moving into a triangle pose, except now your thigh, your knee is bent. Again, you can take your forearm to thigh or hand all the way down to the mat or to a block. I'm going to take the thigh version. Right hand, left side of your rib cage, coax it up. Think of a lot of things you've already been doing in your triangle poses here. Right fingertips up toward the ceiling. We're going to start here first. Keep pressing to the outer edge of your right foot. Take a look down to your left knee and make sure that your knee isn't pointing inward. Scoot your left hip underneath you. Reach out to the inner left thigh. I know it's a lot. And then if you'd like to move to that more extended version, bring your arm out in front of you. Parallel to the mat, point your right pinkies down and then sweep your arm towards the front of the room. You can continue to make that movement as well if you'd like, kind of exploring that range of motion. And you can bring it up and overhead. Just make sure that you're bringing your shoulder away from your ear as you descend down and you're not crinkling up through your shoulders here. And then again, if you'd like, you can start to look up toward the ceiling beyond your right arm. Make sure that your inner left thigh is still pointing forward and not scooping in. All right, when you're ready, on an exhale, come back to warrior two. Straighten the left leg. Ooh, turn your left toes in. Take your hands to your hips, elbows point back, inhale, send your chin up. Exhale, hinge forward once again. Prasarita Padatanasana. Release your hands to the mat whenever you'd like. Lift up halfway. Exhale, fold once again, shifting the weight a little bit more to the balls of your feet. So much like when we're doing our warrior two, the outsides of our feet when we're doing the wide-legged pose, outsides are parallel to the short ends of your mat. So that means that your toes are kind of pointed in ever so slightly. All right, inhale, lift up halfway again. Keeping it low, you're going to pivot back to the front of your mat, taking your toes with you until you're in a low lunge. Step your right foot forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, look up. Exhale, fold. Root to rise, come up all the way to standing, palms lift up, chin turns up. Exhale, hands to your heart center. You can leave your hands here, bring them alongside your body. For Samasthiti or Tadasana, we will be here for 3 breaths. On an inhale, lift your palms up, tilt your chin up. Exhale, hinge your hips, take it all the way down, forward fold, release your hands. Inhale, halfway lift, fingertips find resistance against something. Exhale, fold. Step back to the top of your plank pose and either press up and back to downward facing dog, or if you'd like to move with me, on an exhale through chaturanga. Untuck your toes for the back bend of your choice, deep inhale. And then on an exhale, take it up and back, downward facing dog. Take 3 breaths here in downward facing dog. And at the end of your 3rd exhale, knees to mat, toes to touch, child's pose. Feel free to allow your eyes to close if that is comfortable for you. And once again, come to a place of observation. Where does your skin touch mat, touch clothing, touch air? As you breathe, what are the changes that you experience? What remains the same? Come back to a long, full breath if that has changed at all. And then as you're ready, start to walk your hands in close to you until you're seated on your knees. Bring your knees a little bit closer in towards you. Come over onto your hands and knees. And you're going to tuck your toes. And then tuck them so much. Make sure that even your little pinky toes are tucked. And you're just going to come back to sit on your heels. So I'm doing a little bit of stretching through our feet. So staying right here, you're good to go. If you want to play with some balance, you're really close to the floor. You can start to lean back, maybe lift up one knee a little bit, maybe the other. Maybe you can balance on your toes, shrug your shoulders back. It's a deep stretch through the soles of your feet and even the tops of your feet. And then come right back down. All right, untuck your toes, maybe smash out your feet a little bit, get blood flowing back again. Sit your hips back to your heels, take your hands behind you. Super intense, maybe lean back and lift up your knees. I am not in a position right now to really do a whole lot of this without knee support, but you might come to a place where you're up on your toes, you bring your hands to your heart. All right, come back onto your knees, come over to your hands and knees, lift up your heels, move your ankles in all directions, move all your toes, oh my gosh. And then come onto your back any old way you like. We're going to take a figure 4 reclined pose. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh without using your arms. Start to bring your left thigh in close to your body. See how far you can go with the active range of motion, and then include your arms. Spread your right hand through the hole you've created, and then clasp back of your left thigh or your shin, and start to bring your left thigh closer to you. A little flexion to both feet. Slowly release your breath. Slower inhales. And then release the foot, but keep your legs crossed as they are. Drop both legs over to the left. Left thigh comes into the mat, right foot, maybe rotate your ribcage up once again. You can feel free to send your gaze over to the right. And then take your legs right back up to where you started. Lift up the right foot. You're going to tuck your foot behind your left hip so that your sole of your foot is pointing towards your bum and your right knee is pointing away from you. Your right thigh might come all the way down to the mat, or it might not. If it comes all the way down to the mat, see if you can accentuate that, making the top of your thigh even longer, like you could reach out to the top of your knee. Long, slow exhales. All right, release that and then place your right foot into the mat. Take your feet about as wide as your mat. Drop both knees over to the right. Take your knees up to center, then drop both knees over to the left. Bring it back up to center. Walk your feet back in so that your knees and heels are in line with your hips. Cross your left ankle over your right thigh. Without using your arms, bring your right thigh in close to your body as tight as you can. And then use your hands to assist with this figure 4 pose. Again, interlacing your fingertips a different way than you just did on the other side, if you can remember. Soft flexion to your toes as you draw your right thigh closer to you. Soften through your jaw and the back of your neck. And then release the right thigh, let the right foot come down, drop both knees over to the right. And again, you might find a little bit of an adjustment to find that twist through your torso, right ribcage up, left down. Maybe look over to the left. And then take your knees back up to the center. Lift up your left foot, and you're going to tuck your foot behind your right hip. So your left knee comes out to the side. The sole of your left foot is pointing in towards your right bum. Again, your left leg might be floating in space a little bit. It might come all the way down. Several breaths here. Long out through the left thigh. And then release that. Lift up the left knee, place the left foot. And then separate your feet about head mat distance. Drop both knees over to the left. Take your knees up to center, drop them both over to the right. Back up to center. We're going to take a Supta Batakanasana. Start to walk the soles of your feet together. Drop your knees out to the side. So for this one, we don't want our heels particularly close to our hips. You can have a fair distance here. And if this is something that is uncomfortable for you, then props underneath your knees are helpful. If you don't have any props nearby, then you might take a posture that we did for the beginning of class, which is the opposite of this, with your feet about as wide as your mat and knees not toward each other. You can choose here to take your hands to your thighs from the grounding or onto your midsection. Or bring your arms up above your head, fingertips reaching toward each other, maybe to touch so that your arms are mimicking the shape of your legs. Find the version that resonates the most and the best to you. And allow your breath to soften. The next and final posture of this class is Shavasana. So if you would like, you can stay in your Shavasana pose in this reclined bound ankle, this Batakanasana, or you can take a more traditional Shavasana by first bringing your knees towards you, then extending your legs out, then arms alongside your body. If there's another version that you prefer to take your Shavasana in, a different shape, then please make all of the adjustments that you need. Allow your eyelids to become heavy if that is comfortable so that they close. And then systematically begin to let go. Slowly begin to draw in deeper inhale. And then slower exhale. Allow yourself to become a little bit more aware of your surroundings and your body, your breath. And then let your thoughts drift back to the dedication that you set, your intention. And then begin to find some movements in your fingertips and your toes, your wrists and your ankles, allowing that to become larger. Inviting life back into your body. And then as you're ready, roll over onto one side and pause for just a moment or two, and then make your way to a seated posture for a very brief reflection and meditation of this practice. On an inhale, bring your arms out and up, palms to press above you. And on an exhale, take your thumbs to the space between your eyebrows for clarity of thought, down to your lips for clarity of speech, and then down to your heart for clarity of action. So head to heart, humility, honor, and ingratitude. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me. Thank you for practicing. I appreciate and honor that you've done this for yourself. And thank you for trusting me to guide you in your practice. I am so excited to see what you do with your practice often from that out in the world. I'm so excited to see you out in the world. In the name of the highest good, namaste, Sukchitananda.